Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe.
Do we care about this? Apparently Contra made a post on Israel-Palestine. I might read it. I don't know. Watch this for a second. I'll be back 1 second.
Contra drama? Dude, I don't want to. It's so bad. It's so bad. Everyone's already dunking on her and they're all already right. Big Joel's thread is the best critique. Okay, I haven't seen Big Joel posting. I haven't seen what he's been saying. What has he been saying? It's on Blue Sky? Oh my god. Of course he would. Contrapoints recently made a statement on Palestine. I find this point most interesting. That was really the only outcome of the outrage. Nothing plus slightly hurting Kamala Harris. Change perspective. Things to do. Don't have an axe to grind with Natalie. Good job reading. It's just so dumb. The problem fundamentally is that Contra, I don't think, has a good temperament for the social demands of being an online public figure who discusses politics. That doesn't mean that the videos are bad or whatever. They're not. It just means that, like, you get a lot of backlash. You get a lot of hate. And I think that, you know, it's like a weakness of heart, weakness of mind kind of thing. If you're put into positions where you feel like you're very emotionally pressured, that can cook your brain a little bit. That can push you in a bad direction. I'm not clued in. She put out this like rambling narcissistic post about how she's anti in Gaza, but the reason she hasn't talked about it is because it's depressing and glib, and she feels like the left hasn't done anything productive by bringing attention to it, and it's the left's fault and the left's problem, and blah, blah, blah. So many leftists feel betrayed because I haven't made a video on Palestine. Do they actually want a Contrapoints video about Palestine? Will they be happy if I get in the bath and pour milk on a mannequin of Benjamin Netanyahu? No. I have posted about Gaza occasionally and have quietly given money to Palestinian aid orgs. But what I think what leftists really want is for me to join their chorus of anger. They sense some hesitation on my part and are judging me very harshly on my presumed opinions. I'd rather be judged on my actual opinions, so here they are. Is Israel committing genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. Chapter 1, Doom. The week after October 7th, it was clear the mood among Israeli leaders and civilians was overwhelmingly kill or be killed, existential panic, and unstoppable lust for revenge. It reminded me of the U.S. after 9/11. There was no reasoning or protesting them out of it. Nor was it politically feasible for the U.S. to withdraw aid to Israel on a time frame that would make a difference. Man, it's been like 2 years now. It would have required replacing most of Congress and overturning decades of bipartisan strategy and diplomacy. Even in the best case scenario, it would have taken years. So there was a sense of futility. But worse, Chapter 2, Misery. Oh, the misery. The leftist pro-Palestine movement quickly decided that their primary goal was not merely opposition to the opposition to Zionism in general, that is, opposition to the existence of Israel as a Jewish state. And here they decided to draw the line separating decent people from genocidal fascists, which had the following consequences. It shrunk the coalition. Zionist is a very broad category. Most Jews are Zionists. Anyone who supports a two-state solution is a Zionist. Mabdani, why wouldn't you visit Israel after becoming mayor of New York City? Oh, I don't have to debunk this, do I? Anyone who watches me understands why this is really bad. What she's saying is like arguing against the Holocaust without arguing against Nazis. Well, it's like arguing against the Holocaust without arguing against Lebensraum, right? The in Gaza is a direct product of Zionism. Zionism is the reason why they were in an open-air concentration camp. It's the reason Hamas exists. It's the reason there are walls with automated turrets that shoot people when they come near. It's the reason why in the West Bank there are roads that only Jews can use. It's Zionism is the reason for all of this. Like, the Holocaust didn't happen because the people in Germany, the Nazis, said, well, we should just do one, right? It was the consequence of an underlying ideology that demanded the eradication of other groups as a way of expressing the supremacy of their own. Do you think supporting a two-state solution is Zionism? If so, there's a difference. So unfortunately, she's providing really bad analysis. The people who I know who have advocated for a two-state solution have done so as a way of addressing the immediate harm of Gaza being essentially like an occupied sub-territory of Israel, not a long-term goal. Because obviously, if you implemented a two-state solution, you would then still have a Jewish ethno-state. Like, that wouldn't change the fact that Israel, say in the West Bank, or however you drew the lines, right? Israel would still be, in law, Jewish supremacist. Like, the term a Jewish state is a dog whistle, right? Like when white supremacists say they want America to be a white country, America is already plurality white. What they mean by that, obviously, is an ethno-state. Like, duh. If a member of the AfD says they want Germany to remain a German state, like, let's not be stupid, you know what they mean. Even if they don't mean only, like, ethnic...
Just anybody that says ethno-state or anybody that says, like, Jewish supremacy, because, like, that's not what any of this means. It's, this is just analysis done by people who are, like, very clearly part of the West and have never considered a frame of reference outside of their own. They're incapable of actually understanding anything outside of a very white, Western, imperialistic, ironically enough, perspective. Like, you can have ethno-states without thinking that you're, like, a racially superior people. There are multiple Arab states in the Middle East that, like, explicitly call out, like, religion or Arabness in their founding documents, in their constitutions. The idea that, like, Jews think they're superior and that's why they want an ethno-state is stupid. It's such a baseless, stupid thing to say. It's like, it so immediately makes it clear that you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
German people would be there. What they're talking about is a legal and social prioritization of those groups. Obviously, this is untenable. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. But at the very least...
Like, this comment is so worthless. I don't think ethno-states should exist at all. Like, that's a stat... Like, this is the equivalent of a white person saying, like, I think all forms of equity or, you know, wealth redistribution are unfair. There should be a flat tax and everybody should keep their own stuff. I think that all forms of unfairness are bad. And so wealthy people shouldn't be taxed more than poor people. Everyone should pay the exact, like, it's just on its face, it's stupid. When you say there should be no ethno-states at all, and then you have a region where every single state is, like, you know, massively favoring a single ethnicity, and they're de facto ethno-states, and then they're like, oh, yeah, sure, I agree. And let's use this argument to go destroy the one state that we want to, like, aggressively change the ethnicity of. It's like, okay, well, this is kind of like a stupid point, right? Nobody's threatening the ethnic demographics of any of the surrounding states. It's only one. So when you say, well, ethno-states are bad, but everyone else gets to be a de facto ethno-state, it's like, well, this is stupid.
At least a two-state solution would take the pressure off, right? It would, in the immediate sense, free the Palestinians from being completely subjugated to Israeli power. So if a person believes in a two-state solution as an immediate harm reduction thing, I don't think that's Zionist. If a person believes in a two-state solution as a long-term goal in which Israel remains a Jewish ethno-state, that would be a problem.
Like, when people like, and I don't know if Vosh is just like a huge, like, Islamic dick suck or whatever, but when you say that, like, anything that protects the ethnic identity of the Jewish state is bad, what you are saying, they don't want to own this, but what you're saying is that, like, the ethnic Jewish state should be destroyed and it should become another Arab state. Because if you concede that it shouldn't be there should be no ethnic protections for the makeup of the country, then you're saying that there's an infinite right of return for all of the Palestinians, of which there's an arbitrarily 5, 6, 7 million defined as refugees. Every single one of them gets to go back to Israel proper. All of them get to vote. Jews become a minority there. And then whatever logically follows from that. But it's probably going to be, if not anything else, a mass exodus of the Jewish people there, back to Brooklyn, I guess, where they want them all to go. Right. It's stupid.
I think that political dynamic would still produce things like this, because you would still have a highly militarized supremacist Jewish state right next to the new Palestinian state with US weapons, with far-right backing, you know, like you get the point? It was politically infeasible. What is the pathway that takes us from the present situation to the dissolution of Israel as a Jewish state? I mean, withholding support, that would be a good start, I guess. Like, maybe it would be more difficult for Israel to remain an ethno-state if they weren't backed by the most powerful country in the world who just agrees with everything they do and supports them.
Probably not that much more difficult.
Actual line in the sand rather than what Biden did, which was multiple red lines that he would lie about, and then when Israel did, like, cross those red lines, nothing would happen. That would, I mean, it would be a good start, right? Some kind of meaningful political opposition. I don't see how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, you know, nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a job. I don't know.
Like, this is why also, and this is why Contra's message was weak and I'm sorry, I love Contra, and I like that she tries to have a reasonable position, but, like, you're already cucked if you want to say that, like, okay, guys, they're doing a job. Like, one, no one's giving you any points for that, and two, it's retarded. It's retarded because if you really believe they're doing a job, then the only option is annihilation. It can't, like, how are you going to negotiate with a whole country that's decided to? There's no negotiations to be had. These guys are doing and apartheid and ethnic cleansing, like why would you ever negotiate with a state like that? The only option is annihilation. And Vosh says it very clearly here, which is nice that he's honest about it, right? Oh, I wouldn't mind a total and utter collapse of Jewish society. But when Syria is collapsing, it's really bad. When Yemen is collapsing, it's really bad. When any of like the surrounding Arab states are collapsing, it's really bad. But for Zionism, that's the one that absolutely needs to collapse. That's where we need the regime change. Like, really?
See how this could happen without either a total internal collapse of Israeli society or else, you know, nuclear war. I wouldn't mind a total internal collapse of Israeli society. They're currently doing a job.
Also, this is why Israelis listen to leftists and they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we do support Trump. Why would the f would we ever? Or if you're even like Jews in New York looking at Mamdani, when people like this are speaking for the left, it's like, oh, okay, so you are basically like a Nazi when it comes to Jews, I guess, which is just a Nazi. So yeah, we have no desire to work with or listen to you or do anything with you because you are literally advocating for the complete and utter destruction of our society. So it's,
I don't know. Feel like there are worse things. Like if a country's doing it, like listen, okay, I supported the UN intervention into Serbia, the bombing that we did of Serbia, and what Serbia was doing to the Albanians was nothing even remotely close to what Israel's doing to the Palestinians. So my line for when should UN warplanes drop, or NATO, sorry, not UN, NATO, when should NATO warplanes drop bombs to pacify the aggressors is clearly way the lower than what Israel's doing right now. I don't know how the you can support NATO intervention in Serbia but not support intervention into Israel. I think the UN should occupy Israel. Get some blue helmets down there for 100 years for all I care. Jesus. And stop giving them weapons. Stop giving Israel more weapons. Jesus. And then there's this wonderful line. As usual, leftists have championed a doomed cause. That's really cool. Don't support desegregation because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Vietnam War because it's not immediately feasible. Don't support an end to the Iraq War because it's not immediately feasible. This is just you territory. This is like unsalvageable. It always, at the end of the day, people, weaker people than me, I should say, always circle back around to directing their hate and orienting their politics around aggression towards people that they dislike. And the group of people that are giving Contra the most shit for previous Liberty have been leftists. So it comes back around to that. Anyway, yeah, this logically doesn't work. Like, armchair psychoanalysis aside, this just logically doesn't work. Basically, every progressive cause starts out as or more doomed than opposition to Israel today. Everything from gay marriage to Contra support for trans people. Like, right now, trans rights are looking pretty bleak in the West. Do I waver? No. I think we should put our foot down and hold firm on all of it, including, you know, participation in sports. I'm consistent. If every progressive acted the way you're recommending leftists act with Palestine, consistently on every issue, nothing would ever get done. Also, right now, American support for Israel is lower than America's opposition to MLK. Or I guess what I should say is opposition to Israel is a more popular position than support for MLK during much of the civil rights movement. It introduced dangerous ambiguities. The vagueness of Zionism as a political Satan enables all kinds of rhetorical abuses. On one hand, right-wing Israelis hold up all anti-Zionist protests as existentially threatening and inherently anti-Semitic. On the other hand, there's a long history of anti-Semites using the term Zionist in deliberately equivocal ways. Yeah, sure, I don't really know what that has to do with the genocide, though. Like, there are some people who do that, and it's bad, and they should be called out. I don't really, like, people will dog whistle to take an existing cause and manipulate it to serve their bigotry. Yeah, sure, I don't really see what that has to do with the underlying point. Anti-Semites are happy for the opportunity to misappropriate the now popular anti-Zionist label to legitimize their agenda, and many people are not informed enough about anti-Semitism to recognize when this is actually happening. These problems are mutually reinforcing. Ah, but there's a difference. See, it is the Zionists themselves who disingenuously conflate Zionism and Semitism, whereas it's the opportunist Nazis who jump on the back of anti-Zionist protests to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity that is being created by the Zionists, by the way, and weaponize it in the service of their own ends. Or in other words, the Zionists are doing the bad thing. Whereas with regard to anti-Zionism, it's another group that's trying to co-opt the language. What exactly are we meant to do about that? Or to put it another way, how could you ever criticize Israel without anti-Semites trying to take advantage of it? I mean,
well, one thing is you could start by saying, I wouldn't mind the complete and utter collapse of the entire society. I mean, that could be like a start, you know?
I think that you should do everything you can to excise them from your movement, to make it clear what you mean, to be precise in your definitions. But how on earth could you do that? Zionists put so much effort into conflating Judaism and Israel. Like, it's like their main thing. They shield themselves with it. So as a consequence, they make it very easy for Nazis and anti-Semites to, you know, to take advantage of the rhetorical ambiguity. But what is the left meant to do about that, apart from being responsible when possible? It is, after all, like often young progressive Jewish people who are at the forefront of these anti-Zionist marches, like Jewish Voice for Peace, advocates against this old colonial ethno-state project. Chapter 3, Dread. The online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos and videos of dead Palestinian children. The main effect of this has been to create a population of people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. Palestinians share photos and videos. The Western left isn't in Gaza. The Palestinians take those videos and share them online because they don't want their suffering to be invisible. It's not really the left that's creating that media. It's Israel's creating, I suppose.
The media is created for you, though, right?
The subject of the media, but Palestinians are the ones documenting it. I don't understand this point. I fear this may be worse than useless. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are conceptually not the same, and conflating them is dangerous. But in practice, the way Israel is perceived does seep out into attitudes about Jews in general. I don't think Jews who feel isolated and wary in the current atmosphere are simply hysterical or hallucinating. Kind of a non-statement. As previously mentioned, there are anti-Semites who opportunistically take advantage of the anti-Israel, anti-Zionist protests, but what does that mean? Like, the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism is the policy of Zionists. Like, their goal is to do that. How do you turn this into an anti-left argument? Like, if you're so concerned about the conflation of these two ideas, why is every Zionist constantly screaming it from the rooftops? I would love it if they would stop. I don't think Zionism, to be honest with you, I don't think Zionism...
Like, and I know we don't care about the news anymore or anything that happens, but like, keep in mind that 2 Jewish people were murdered in, was it in DC? By a guy, you know, who was saying, like, for Palestine. He just fucking murdered... yeah, but, you know, whatever it is, what it is.
Current form has much to do with Judaism at all. The underlying project is, of course, based in the, you know, Jewish homeland, Middle East, so on and so forth. But as a political project, the way it manifests, it seems to be largely like a corporate and American Christian...
I don't know why you're donating for... I know we'll never get it, and the bridge has been burned for years, but an IP debate between you and Wash would feed family... He will never debate me on this. These people do not debate these topics. Israel-Palestine is... it's like a holy text to them. They're not going to debate it. They're not going to do apologetics for it. They just repeat the propaganda verbatim because they have no understanding of any of this issue. These are all slogans and talking points. You're listening to somebody Markov chaining together different phrases that he's heard about the region. He doesn't know all about anything having to do here, but nobody that talks about this, so who the fuck cares?
Evangelical effort, where Jews are weaponized to further, or the identity of Jewish people and their needs or perceived needs are weaponized by oftentimes anti-Semitic right-wingers in an effort to promote certain cultural or economic causes, you know? Like, it's not exactly a secret that AIPAC and the ADL and other groups aligned with Zionism are usually used as bludgeons against the left. Right? Yes, there's communal trauma and hypervigilance. Yes, there's disingenuous right-wing ghouls dismissing and censoring all criticism of Israel on the pretext of fighting anti-Semitism. Wait, that's not disingenuous right-wing ghouls. That's the entire Zionist establishment. Literally, like, that is the playbook. It's not just the disingenuous right-wing ghouls. That's the entire, from Democrats, Republicans, that's the main strategy. Look at what they did to Mamdani. That's in no way like a niche strategy. There's also a valid fear of historical anti-Semitic patterns recurring, and that fear gives power to the right-wing Zionist claim that only Israel can keep Jews safe. Yeah, that's why Israel does this. Israel makes itself hateable on an international and local stage and conflates Judaism and Zionism and then does horrible things in the name of Judaism, allegedly in the name of Judaism. They do it for Zionism. And that does attract international condemnation, which they then use to fearmonger to further legitimize their projects. But all of this is the strategy of the right. Why are we pretending that the left is doing this? Like, this entire essay post is pointing out things Zionists do, but then she turns around and says, oh my God, it's like the FD signifier video. I'm getting flashbacks. They don't want solutions. They don't want to stop the genocide. They just want to endlessly critique the genocide. Oh God, I'm being sent back. Does this mean Israel should not be criticized and sanctioned? Absolutely not, but it's something I don't want to risk contributing to if not outweighed by tangible benefits, so I approach the issue cautiously. But there have been benefits to the widespread left condemnation of Israel.
Yeah, what's that? Republicans getting elected? Donald Trump being the president now?
Democrats have been polarized against it very effectively, which is important. Like, if you, like, keep in mind, man, the Vietnam War went on for, like, what, 7 years? Lyndon B. Johnson lost for re-election because people criticized his handling, and then the war went on for, like, another 4 years or something. Like,
I think Vietnam was longer than that for us, wasn't it? Vietnam, U.S. involvement, Wikipedia. We were there for a long time. That was wild. The overall war was about 20 years. I don't remember when the U.S. was, or how long the U.S. was involved.
Nothing good happens immediately, and sometimes it doesn't happen at all, but you always have to try. There were probably so many people back in the 1960s who thought the civil rights movement was a waste of time. MLK, you're only polarizing people against you, the white moderates.
I love how every single thing can be justified with this line of logic. Like, yes, dogs should be able to be married to humans. If humans and dogs want to marry, that's fine. I know you're saying it's worthless now, but people said the same thing about MLK. I know you're saying that we have no chance of succeeding, but people said the same thing about civil rights. I know you're saying that it hasn't been like this for however many years, so it'll never happen. People said the same thing about women's suffrage, right? Like, it's such a stupid argument.
Brits don't like the fact that you're stirring up trouble, all in good time. Quit like throwing up a fuss, you know? I don't know. I just don't. Lyndon B. Johnson did not run again. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Okay. Sorry. It wasn't Lyndon B. Johnson lost re-election. It was Nixon won in large part off criticism of LBJ's handling because he used that against the Democrats, and also he and Kissinger committed treason by prolonging the war to keep LBJ from ending it early. Yeah. Where's the graph? I'm looking for Cassie again. Cassie, you need to stop posting so much. You need to only post the things that I remember you posting. Why can't I find it? God, I'm bad at this. I'm trying to find the polling on Democrats' opinions on Israel. Look at this. The shift, just 12% of Dem voters sympathize more with Israelis than Palestinians. U.S. voters were asked whether their sympathies lie with the Palestinians or the Israelis. 37% said the Israelis, 32% said the Palestinians, 31% did not offer an opinion.
Wow, we're so close to solving Israel-Palestine. If we just have a few more Hamas propaganda videos of people getting raped and murdered. Yes.
Yeah. Among Republicans, Israel remains popular. Among Democratic voters, Israel's reputation is in shambles. Just 12% of them sympathize more with Israelis. 60% sympathize more with Palestinians. Dude! It's crazy. This is unparalleled. In less than 2 years, a seismic shift. So when Contra says that there's been no consequence of the left making this an issue worth planting your feet on the ground for, I disagree. I think your criticism should lie with the Democrats for continuing to do a very unpopular support, for continuing to support Israel when it's really unpopular with their base. Like, at what point does the blame shift from the left? Like, the left has very successfully made this a generational issue. So at what point do you turn to the Democratic establishment and you say, well, it's now on you for not acquiescing? And if your answer to that is, well, it's never on the Democratic establishment because they were never going to acquiesce, then why believe in politics? Why then never advocate for anything because the system will never change? Then why talk about politics at all? Why not just like roll around in the mud like pigs? Like at that point, is it me or does this reek of privilege? This reeks of privilege largely, I think, because it's very me focused. It's very like solipsistic. It's very narcissistic. I'm armchair psychologizing, but this is very much like me. You know, I don't know. If people are upset you haven't made a statement on Palestine, all you really have to do is say, I don't really want to cover that topic. It's heavy and you should all know what I believe, but to be clear, Israel. Like, that's not difficult. It shouldn't be controversial to say the country doing a genocide. I don't know why, like, that's, I just don't think it's that
Protesters in a tense standoff. Good evening, everybody. You're watching LA Live News Tonight. Thanks for being with us. I'm Marla Tejas.
I'm Christine Devine. New tonight, federal agents clashed with protesters during an ICE raid at a Ventura County cannabis farm.
The operation at Glass House Farms near Camarillo today turned chaotic. Fox 11's Ed Lascos live there with the very latest tonight. Ed, has it quieted down at all?
Yeah. Well, let's give you a look real quick, Marla, with Frank, give you an idea. This is Laguna Road here. It's the cross off Las Posas. This is a motorcade of some of the workers from Glass House Farms leaving, trying to talk to some of them. They were saying they were told by a lot of the folks inside not to say anything. These are the folks, obviously, who haven't been detained by the federal agents as part of this latest immigration raid. And the crowd offering support here, clapping to a lot of the folks going by. But all of this, it's been playing out hour by hour, a tense situation targeting this legalized, and I say it's legalized there in California, a marijuana growing facility, a large sprawling complex here in the heart of Ventura County's farming district. In any event, tensions rising here. Look at some of this standoff from earlier. Watch. Yeah, very tense situation here as the federal agents moved in around noontime, and then the protesters moved in to not let it be so easy as it all went down, yelling at them, trying to make it difficult, trying to block some of the military vehicles going through. Federal agents responding with gas, apparent tear gas. Also, some of the protesters saying they were hit with some paintballs, rubber bullets going through. For their part, some of the video also showed some of the agents also ducking some water bottles and rocks being thrown at them by the protesters. So a very tense situation here as Glass House Farms, the target of this immigration raid, as a federal warrant had the agents move in here to not target the farm because of the marijuana situation. Again, legal in California, but targeting them, alleging they are housing illegal aliens. That brought the confrontation, and that brought a lot of relatives here from workers inside.
I wanted to ask, how can't you believe in child trafficking when government contractors like DynCorp stayed a contractor and got bought out? I don't know. I missed that episode of Alex Jones.
Worried about what's been happening. Listen to their response.
There are hundreds of people who work at this glass house facility. From what I last heard is that maybe somewhere around like 40 or 50. I did see vans, white vans, exit this morning, and we have seen multiple ICE vans leaving through multiple dirt roads that can be carrying up to more than 50 people at this point. We're all illegals. If they come for one of us, they come for all of us, you know. And this is, you think about the U.S. stole the land from Mexico. They, you know, why do people come here from all over the world? Because the U.S. messed up their country more than it has done here. These are human beings, you know. Trump and the regime are going after people with no due process, you know, without the rule of law. They're just kidnapping people, and now they're sending them to foreign countries and concentration camps like Alligator Alcatraz.
And just some of the reaction that's playing out here as this standoff goes on. From Skyfox, we had a view of, looked like dozens of the workers from inside this farm that were being detained, evidently lined up one by one, waiting to be moved out, processed. We also have a lot of first responders from Ventura County here, making sure no one gets hurt. There's been some shoving.